Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for bearing with us as we had our technical difficulties last week. My name is Ryan Middleton. I'm with the Prince George's County Executive's Office, and we want to welcome you to the Prince George's County Blue Ribbon Recreation Work Group meeting. Okay, good afternoon. Today we will be thank you for joining us. Excuse me. For bearing with us. Today we'll be discussing the Ryan Middleton. I'm with the Prince George's County Executive's Office. And we want to welcome you. Feedback. Apologies. Today we'll be reviewing the Prince George's County's Recreation Blue Ribbon Work Group final report and going through any final recommendations that may be offered by our work group members here today. As you may know, tomorrow is the deadline for us to submit the report and all of the recommendations to the Prince George's County Council, which would effectively finish this leg of the work as it pertains to recreation services being administered here in Prince George's County. We want to thank our work group members who are here, and also want to thank our consultant, Barry Dunn, led by Ms. Lisa Paradis, for all the hard work that they've contributed to this effort so far. So with that, I do want to allow Lisa to provide any sort of overview or any sort of closing thoughts that we may or may not have gone through during last Friday's meeting that was not live, but we are now live. And then we can go into any kind of final discussion about recommendations that there may be from some of our members, and then we can go on to approval of our final report and set recommendations. So Lisa, I will cede the floor to you for just a moment.
Great. Thank you, Ryan. Last week, we presented the final document to the Blue Ribbon Work Group. They had received the document via email about a week prior. And so we reviewed and summarized the document into its various categories and left a little bit of time at the end for discussion. Believe that the work group has had time to review and process any information, and I've received a few edits and comments. So those will be, some of those I think still need to be discussed here on during this meeting, and others will be incorporated directly if they were just formula kind of things, or some formatting, I should say, kind of things. Those edits were made. In essence, the document is an analysis of the current program and service delivery of Maryland National Capital Parks and Planning Commission's Department of Parks and Recreation, it pertaining especially to the recreation divisions and the operations and finances that are supporting the service delivery. It has several different elements to it and provides a pretty decent amount of detail, from finances to program and service delivery to employee benefits and a whole host of other things. And I guess with that, I'll leave it open to Ryan to then ask questions if you want, or for the work group to ask questions, I should say, and happy to answer anything that comes up today.
Thank you, Lisa. Do we have any questions, comments? I know there was talk of additional recommendations to be offered by some of our work group members last week. Are there any that they would like to put onto the floor today? Anyone? No questions? Okay. Well, with the changes that were incorporated into the report, would anyone like to call for a vote for the report and for the recommendations offered therein?
Is it possible just to list, because I believe somebody submitted some changes or recommendations, but they weren't shared? If a list of those changes or recommendations can be just briefly explain to us?
Well, there were some recommendations that were shared by Delegate Faye Martin Howell. And she said that they were shared by Delegate Andrea Harrison, who couldn't be here today. So Delegate Howell, would you like to speak on some of those recommendations that were offered?
I'm trying to speak.
Oh, there we are. We can hear you now.
Oh, you can? Okay. I
Mhm.
don't know what's going on with my I don't know what's going on. Can you see me at all?
We can't see you, but we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Yes, I submitted some recommendations. I talked to Delegate Andrea Harrison, and she and I both went over some recommendations that we wanted to see. And one of the main ones was about the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. And our understanding was that the board hasn't been functioning for the past few years. And we wanted to know if it was possible, or the recommendation is that the county reinstate this board and get members out there so they can give advice to the county executive, the county council, and Prince George's County Planning Board on issues related to parks and recreation. So we think that if this PRAB, I think is what it's called, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, I think if this is put back into place, then this will give us the opportunity to listen to the community and hear suggestions from them about recommendations for recreation. That was one of our recommendations. The other thing that we recommended was that the board should truly consist of some Boys and Girls Clubs representatives, senior citizens, disability community, as well as other community partners. And these representatives could help to improve relationships between parks and recreation and the various groups. We also think that Parks and Recreation should encourage the Boys and Girls Club groups to become community partners. I know that a group that I work with, Glen Arden Track Club, we're a community partner, and we do a lot of events in partnership with Parks and Planning. So I think that Parks and Recreation should encourage the Boys and Girls Club to join as community partners so they can realize some of the facilities and sponsorships that that Parks and Recreation has in this county. They also may be able to use more of the facilities, because we have a lot of facilities here in the county, and we just think that if they become community partners, maybe they would be able to use some of those facilities. The other suggestion was that we would have a youth sports division, and we had made some suggestions on what we thought that youth sports division could do. And one of the things was that, for example, if you're new to the community, or even you're old to the community, you may not know where certain events and certain activities take place. And it would be good if Parks and Recreation could have like a list of where let's say the lacrosse teams are, or where the track teams are, or where the football teams are, so that if you're interested in getting your youth involved, they would know where to go to look for those type of things. And we also thought that this youth sports division could help to gather all the youth sports activities into a website somewhere so people can look for different things. And those were the main suggestions that we have. And this suggestion about the youth sports division, I think Lisa responded back to me, and maybe Lisa could tell what she said about those youth sports divisions.
Thank you. Yes, I can respond about that, and actually about the Prince George's County or the Boys and Girls Club piece as well. Let me first say too that the youth sports strategic plan that was referenced a couple of times during the work that we've done here in the past several months does actually have a significant amount of analysis and assessment and inclusion of the Boys and Girls Club and the role, if you will, that MNC PPC DPR would play and does play, currently does play, and then would play in the future with the Boys and Girls Clubs. And I would also say, in reference to number 4, that has a direct correlation with the fact that MNC PPC had formed under Prince George's County DPR the youth sports, countywide youth sports division, and that was in February of 2020, and that actually was by legislative act, and then also was sort of the I guess the starting point for the youth sports strategic plan as well, that we worked on for 2 years. So that plan, in conjunction with the newly formed sports division, yielded a number of goals and actions, and actually celebrated a lot of the work that had been done over the past 2 years. And then also, I guess one of the deliverables for that was a subsite for the MNC PPC website, and that is the one-stop shop website, so that all of the county's youth sports organizations were all inventoried, and every single one of them is listed as an opportunity under that subsite. That subsite has not been launched yet. I know that there have been some delays on that, and I'm not sure entirely why, but I have heard the last time I did hear was that it's going to be launched on April 15th, and that will be that one-stop shop experience that people are looking for within the county. So with that, I'm happy to answer any more detailed questions about that. But I think number 3 and 4 have been fairly well responded to prior to this.
Any further discussion?
Ryan, I think you said Wanda had submitted some items. Is there anything that that stands out that's not in the report that Wanda submitted? Did you send out an email that Wanda had submitted some items?
Yeah, I can detail those. There was a end of quotes missing. There was a couple of little spelling mistakes. I'm not sure how our EQA department didn't catch that, but my apologies. And there was also an error in the org chart, so that has been fixed and that's ready to go.
Okay, I just didn't know if it was just grammatical or programmatic stuff. Okay.
Yeah, no, well, actually, the org chart was quite important, so I was happy that Wanda caught that, and so we've fixed that.
Is there any further discussion as it pertains to the recommendations that were offered by Delegate Howell, or does anyone else want to put any recommendations on the floor?
Just a question, before we transmit it, would there be a cover memo from this committee that will list, what the recommendations are, like what Ms. Howell outlined earlier today?
Yes, that will accompany the report.
Okay.
Ryan, is it the charge of this group at this point to make a recommendation or recommendations at this point?
Yeah, so what we need to do right now is to give approval of the report. If there are recommendations put forth by Delegate Howell, so those would also need to be voted upon, and also a final say as to the 3 sort of choices that were provided at the outset of this work group as it pertained to whether or not recreation services should remain with MNC PPC, should move to a quasi-governmental agency, or move to a fully county agency. So those are sort of the three items that we have here that we need to finalize. So I guess we can start with the report. We will put on the floor, is the report, hey Gino, did you have a question or a comment?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
We can go through, and if there's no objections to accepting the report with all the edits and formatting changes that were provided by Wanda and implemented by Barry Dunn and the team. All those in favor, please say aye or raise your hand or what have you. Thank you.
Aye.
See all ayes.
Yes.
Are there any opposed at all? Okay, hearing none, so the report has been approved. Now, as it pertains to the suggestions offered by Delegate Howell and Delegate Harrison, we have 4 recommendations here that Delegate Howell just outlined. I believe the 3rd and 4th ones, Lisa's noted that they had already been addressed prior to this work group. So Delegate Howell, I will leave it to you to determine whether or not you would like all 4 to move forward as a part of this group before we vote on it, or if you would like the first 2, or however you want to move forward with it. Please let us know how we would like to go.
I would recommend that until we see the second 2, I would recommend that they stay.
Okay.
Because, she said a date of April the 15th, but maybe that'll happen, maybe it won't. So I would like to recommend that it would stay, and then when it happens, we could remove it.
Sure. Again, these are just recommendations. So
Yes.
this isn't strict policy that
Right.
going to be set in stone. So hearing that, in terms of the recommendations, do we have approval from the work group as to incorporating these recommendations to accompany the final report to be transmitted to the county council? All those who approve, please raise your hand or say aye. Are there any opposed? Okay. Those recommendations will move forward. And the ultimate question for this work group is pertaining to where recreation services should live here in the county. Again, I will outline the 3 choices that were presented to the work group: either remaining with MNC PPC, moving from MNC PPC to a quasi-governmental agency, or moving to a fully county agency. Let's stay with the first one. All those in favor of MNC PPC retaining recreation services, please raise your hand or say aye. Okay. All those opposed? Okay. So that effectively eliminates the other 2 choices. So the official recommendation of this work group is to have recreation services remain with MNC PPC. And
Ryan, what's the final count on that?
oh,
The
I'm sorry, I
vote?
apologize. That was 9 for all. It was unanimous across the board for all 3 votes that we just took. So it was 9. I apologize for not saying so.
Thank you.
Any other questions at all? Okay. Well, I want to thank everyone who tuned in and stayed with us and bore with us even through the technical issues. Thank you all, the work group members, for all your hard work and diligence, and even coming here for this meeting that we weren't supposed to have as of last week. I want to also thank again Barry Dunn for all of their hard work. And I also like to recognize our chair, Donna Herring, for the hard work that she put into this work group as well. I do want to recognize her. If there are any closing thoughts from anyone else, I'm happy to give the floor to everyone else. Please let us know if there are any closing thoughts from anyone.
Ryan, just a thank you to you for guiding us through this process.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Yes, and this is Faye. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that worked with us. It was a team effort, and I just want to say that I think MNC PPC is an excellent organization. I don't want it to go anywhere, and I want it to stay. And I think that if we work together, we can get what would make everyone happy. And I think we were going in that direction, but I think we're still heading in the direction of making this better.
Okay. And with
Brian, quickly, I just
Yes,
wanted to
yes.
thank everybody. Just quickly, as the project manager for this, I wanted to thank the entire team that I worked with at MNCPPC, as well as the county. Everybody was really open and forthcoming and really easy to work with. And this group has been a pleasure to work with as well. And thank you for allowing us into your business, basically. It was a pleasure. Thank you again.
And with that, I think our business here is done. I want to thank everyone again for tuning in and bearing with us. Thank you all for your dedication, and have a great afternoon.
Good work, everybody.